Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to the channel and welcome to another match preview video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And after a convincing win against Ghent in the Conference League on Thursday night, Chelsea are back in Premier League action with Nottingham Forest the visitors to Stamford Bridge as the Blues look to make it 6 wins on the bounce in all competitions. And according to some people, keep ourselves in the title race. Let's not get too carried away, guys. Let's not get too carried away. But we are certainly in good form. The final game before the international break, and you could say the break's probably coming at the wrong time for us, given we are building up a bit of momentum, building up a head of steam, racking up those W's. You could do with the games to continue coming, but it's the way it goes, unfortunately. And, you know, there's big tests awaiting us after the break. But we're not going to worry about that just yet. We're going to focus on the Forest game. And obviously, surprisingly, Chelsea yet to beat Forest at Stamford Bridge since they returned to the Premier League 2 seasons ago. In the Graham Potter days, we had obviously the 2-2 draw against Forest. And then last season, they beat us 1-0. Anthony Elanga with the only goal. And Nicholas Jackson, of course, missing pretty much an open goal from less than 5 yards out, I'd say. Hopefully, there isn't a repeat of that. But this is going to be a tricky game, guys. It is going to be a tricky game. Forest have started the season pretty well, you know. They obviously slipped to their first defeat of the season against Fulham last time out, but they have been to Anfield and won. They did a really good job. They did a number on them. Nuno packing out in the midfield, didn't start any wingers, brought them on in the second half, and they did a job on Liverpool. And you would be surprised if Nuno didn't employ the same tactics again, which means that the impetus is going to be on us to try and break them down. Like, look, with the quality we've got in our attack and the amount of goals that we're scoring, I do fancy us to create chances and to be able to score. But as we saw against Crystal Palace, you know, against a low block, we do still have difficulties in breaking those kinds of teams down. And I think Forest are going to probably look to employ a very similar type of tactic in this game. But you know, it would be more difficult than Brighton. I wouldn't expect it to be as easy as that Brighton game was. And I wouldn't expect Forest to come in and deploy a high line, come in and, you know, we could just play balls over the top and get in behind every single time. I don't expect that to happen at all. They'll make it difficult for us. They've got good players that can hurt us as well. Obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi returning to the club. He has been in good form this season, got the winner at Anfield. Elanga is a bit of a handful. Chris Wood, who you might not think is anything special, has been scoring a lot of goals for Forest, particularly since Nuno came in. And of course, you know, you've got Murillo at the back, who is a player that Chelsea have been linked with in the past as well. So look, we're going to have to be on top of our game. We're going to have the midfield battle is going to be key. We cannot afford to make any mistakes at the back. Sanchez has got to be back on his A game. I mean, I don't know what his A game is, but yeah, just get back to what you were doing against Bournemouth, brother. And yeah, none of this nonsense, playing people into trouble, making stupid decisions, making mistakes, because it will cost us, and it is going to cost us at some point in the season, because he will do it again. That's just what he does. But in terms of the attack, you know, I don't really expect us to have too many issues creating chances. It'll just once again come down to, will we have our shooting boots on like we did against Brighton, like we did against West Ham, like we did against Wolves, or will it be a similar situation to like we did against Palace, where we created several good opportunities, but we weren't able to take them? And obviously, only time will tell how this one's going to play out. But this is a really big opportunity for us to get more points on the board, to get 16 points from 21. Which would be a really, really good start. And I honestly don't think we could have asked for anything more other than beating Palace. You know, if we were to win on Sunday, then it would pretty much be the perfect start to the season. We really couldn't have asked for an awful lot more. And we need these points on the board because, as I referenced, after the international break, our next 4 Premier League games are Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, Man United away, Arsenal at home. Those are 4 very tough fixtures, and you just got no idea how many points we're going to get from them. But you will find out a lot about Enzo Maresca, and you will find out a lot about this team. But in terms of the talking points heading into this game, then obviously in the build-up, there was no press conference because we played Thursday night, so just a few quotes released from the post-match press conference, sort of looking about this game. And as I referenced at the start of the video, you know, some people, you know, saying that we could be in a title race. We absolutely aren't. And Maresca saying that, you know, we're not ready. We're not on the level to compete with City or Arsenal right now. And I don't see what the issue is with those comments. I've seen some people take a bit of issue with those comments, but I've got absolutely no idea why. We are 3 months into Enzo Maresca and what he's trying to do. Arsenal are what, 5 years into Arteta? Man City, what, 8 or 9 years into Guardiola? Of course, they're way, way ahead of us. And there's no shame in admitting that. That's the levels that we're looking to get to. And, we are 3 months into this project with Maresca. And the early signs are good, but I don't know why the goalposts are now suddenly shifting. Oh, Chelsea have had a good start, so therefore we should be in a potential conversation for the title race. And the narrative is going to shift to, well, why aren't Chelsea challenging for the title? Like, I can't get my head around it. But it's one of those, isn't it, guys, where we start doing well, they haven't got anything negative to say about us. So now the goalposts shift to, we should be challenging for the title. And then when we inevitably don't, because we're not ready to do so yet, then there's going to be a why haven't Chelsea challenged for the title will be the next sort of narrative that will be run with. But in terms of kind of what I'm expecting from this game, I'm expecting more of the same from what I've seen so far this season. I'm expecting us to look dangerous going forward. I'm expecting us to create a number of chances. I'm expecting us to have control in the midfield. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse is on loan at Nottingham Forest from West Ham. So, guys, please don't give any free kicks away in and around the edge of the area. He's already done us dirty when he was at Southampton, and we lost 1-0. That's really probably one of the lowest points of the Graham Potter reign. So just don't give any stupid free kicks away around the edge of the box, because he is very, very dangerous. I actually don't know how often he's been playing for Nottingham Forest this season, but yeah, if he is playing, giving a free kick on the way on the edge of the box is almost like giving away a penalty when he's on the pitch. So we just got to not give any stupid fouls away from sort of near the edge of the box. In terms of team selection, there's really, in my view, there's only really one decision that potentially there is for Enzo Maresca to make, and that's whether you go Pedro Neto or Noni Madueke. That's really the only decision that has to be made in this team. Madueke's had a couple of games where he's not really been at his best against Brighton and against, obviously, West Ham as well. So, Neto impressed in the Conference League on Thursday night. He got a goal. He looked reasonably sharp, and people have been calling for him to come in. But I think ultimately for me, I'm not too fussed either way, because the team's performing well, we're winning, and the majority of the players are stepping up and contributing. So I don't really think it makes an awful lot of difference whether it's Neto starting or whether it's Madueke starting or not. But I would also admit that Neto is knocking on the door big time to start, and you wouldn't be able to argue against it if he was named in the starting lineup for this game against Forest. You simply couldn't, because he arguably he does deserve it. Other players, Mudryk, I thought had a good game on Thursday night. Is not going to start ahead of Jadon Sancho. Nkunku, despite scoring, I thought was relatively quiet. He's obviously not going to start ahead of Jackson. And Joao Felix had a pretty ineffective game as well. And we know full well that he's not starting ahead of Cole Palmer. So, yeah, the right-hand side's really the only area that a decision is pretty much required in. And we have to feel confident going into this game. As I said, we're 5 wins on the spin. We're in a rich vein of form. Everything seems to be clicking for us at the moment. Even though we are making mistakes, then they're not turning out to be costly. And long may this continue. It's so good to be able to actually look forward to Chelsea games, speak about Chelsea in a positive way, and actually, not being able to wait for the next game to come around. It was only about a year ago or 18 months ago where you're like, oh, thank God we're not playing for 3 or 4 days. Now it's like, oh God, what, we're not playing for 3 or 4 days? Jesus, when you're playing well, you just want to keep seeing the team play. You want the games to come thick and fast. And it's a shame an international break's coming up, but let's try and send it off in the best way possible. But Forest could easily frustrate us, and we've got to be aware of that. We need to be patient. We need to be methodical. An early goal would be beneficial for several reasons. One, obviously getting off to a good start, and secondly, it would mean that any sort of plan for Forest to sit deep would almost be blown out the water, and they'd have to adapt their game plan because they would have conceded early. Teams that come in, sit deep, they're going to want to keep things level for as long as possible, try and nick something from a set piece, try and nick something on the break. Forest have got the pace to cause us problems on the break. Then they've got some big guys at the back as well, could cause problems potentially from set pieces. We still look a little bit vulnerable with balls into the box. So those are the areas I think we're going to have to be wary of. But this should be a game that we're more than capable of winning. But we have to treat Forest with respect. They've been to Anfield and they've won this season when nobody expected them to. And if we're not at it 100% and we're not turning up fully focused and giving the game the respect that it deserves, then we could easily be on the end of a similar result ourselves. But in terms of my starting 11 that I would like to see for the game itself, let me just bring this up on screen, guys. We'll have obviously Robert Sanchez back in goal. He needs an important performance, just no mistakes, keep it simple, go long if you need to. He can't afford to be making any mistakes, particularly considering the two that he made against Brighton last night. But he'll obviously return in goal. There was no Malo Gusto on Thursday night. No Gusto, no problem. Disasi played at right back, grabbed himself an assist, but he will be finding himself back on the bench. Gusto will come in at right back. We'll obviously have Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwell back in the centre of the defence, even though Tosin and Badiashile, they done okay. They're obviously not going to retain their places. Colwell and Fofana, given the night off, should be nice and fresh for this one. In fact, the whole of Chelsea's back five was given the night off on Thursday. And this is a luxury position that we're in right now, when particularly with this stage of the Conference League, where because we're playing with the greatest of respects opposition that are nowhere near our level, and because we've got the squad depth and the squad options, we're able to play pretty much an entirely separate 11 and be able to get the job done, so we can rest the first team, quote unquote, for the weekend. And playing Thursday, Sunday doesn't really make too much of a difference. But moving into midfield, then we're going to go with Moises Caicedo at the base here. No, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go Enzo deepest. Obviously, he had the night off as well. Caicedo slightly further forward, doing up that box-to-box stuff. And then obviously Cole Palmer in this advanced number 8 position, which really does become kind of a number 10 as well, 8/10 in that position there. So, so far, we've had eight players, and they were all rested on Thursday night, which is a fantastic position to be in. People talk about, what was the plan at Chelsea? What's the squad building idea? Well, now you're seeing, the reason why we have recruited, why we have, and why we put the squad together like we have, and we're reaping the benefits of it so far. On that right-hand side, there is a decision to be made. For me personally, having said I'm not that fussed, I would, with push come to shove, I would go with Pedro Neto, but I would expect Madueke to probably be given one more chance. So, in my opinion, I go Neto on the right. Jadon Sancho looking to make it 4 assists in 4 games, coming in on that left-hand side. He is well rested as well. Let's hope he can continue his good form. And then finally, despite Christopher Nkunku getting his 7th goal of the season, he is Chelsea's top scorer in all competitions. Another guy who had the whole night off on Thursday, Nicholas Jackson. He will lead the line for us. 4 goals and 3 assists in 6 games in a rich vein of form. We'll be looking to make up for the missed chances against Brighton. Hopefully he can stick a couple away against Nottingham Forest. But that is a team that I would go with. Literally one change from Brighton last time out. I'd have Neto coming in for Madueke, but I would have no complaints if Noni kept his place in the side. But that is the team that I would go with. And guys, I'm expecting a win tomorrow. If you can't feel confident, with how we're playing right now, when are you going to feel confident? I think it will be closer than a lot of people expect. I expect Forest will cause us problems. I don't fancy us to keep the clean sheet. So I am going to go for a narrow 2-1 win. I'm going to back us to make it 6 wins on the spin and solidify our position in the top 4. But that is my match preview, guys. That's my thoughts on the game. Please, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big up if you've watched to the end. As I said, smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you guys in another video soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace out.